Good morning. Good morning. My name is Linda Gill, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. Welcome to you all. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual, spiritual, and ethical growth, celebrating diversity, and promoting a just and sustainable world. If you'd like to learn more about this fellowship, please look at our website at uufe.org and join us after the service for potluck. For the listening enjoyment of all, we ask that at this time you turn off all cell phones. And if you need hearing support, please ask for help at the back desk. Thank you.
These are our announcements for Fellowship Life. A reminder for the Social Justice Committee, during potluck there's a designated table for you where we can eat and have a short meeting. Gather at the table and we will begin when all members are seated. And there are 2 opportunities to socialize and worship with Reverend Dan's other congregation, Clark Lake. First, on Wednesday, November 13th, we're planning a joint lunch similar to a Feasters event in Coldwater, Michigan. And then on Sunday, November 17th, we're planning a visit for their Sunday service at 11 o'clock a.m. Please set aside these dates, and Chuck Bauer will provide more details in upcoming weekly emails, the focus, and the bulletin board by the restrooms. Chuck will also coordinate carpooling. That's all I have for coming announcements.
Sherry and I would like to offer you this interactive dialogue by Eric Hewitt.
I don't have anything to say.
Well, I do, but it might not be interesting to anyone.
I have secrets inside of me and struggles, and I don't know if I am ready to share them.
I want to hear what you have to say.
I want to speak of the deepest things together.
I want to hear what you dream about, what you hope for. I want to know how you have come to arrive at this resting point along your journey.
What if I speak and you don't understand me?
I will listen, and listen again until my hearing becomes understanding.
What if I can't find the words to share the world inside me?
I believe that wise words will emerge from you.
How can I trust you to hold my life's stories? You who I may not even know.
By knowing that, as I receive part of your story, I will give you part of mine.
How will this work? What will happen? What awaits us? Let us begin to listen and trust and to know one another more deeply.
Now let us enter into worship together.
Our chalice lighting this morning is by Eric Walker Wickstrom. Here today, in this place, and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. May this chalice we light our way. Will you join me in our unison covenant?
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant.
I invite you now to rise in body or spirit as we sing our first hymn, number 360. Here we have gathered.
I have a story today, as I usually do. This one is called The Rabbit Listener by Corey Durkill. One day, Taylor decided to build something. Something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud of it when he finished, but then, out of nowhere, things came crashing down. chicken was the first to notice. What a shame! I'm so sorry this happened. Let's talk about it. The tailor didn't feel like talking, so the chicken left. Next came the bear. Wow, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. The tailor didn't feel like shouting, so the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering, so the elephant left. One by one they came. The hyena. Let's laugh about it. The ostrich. No, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo. Tisk, tisk, what a mess. Let's throw it all away. And the snake. Let's go knock down someone else's. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. So eventually, they all left until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please, stay with me." The rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to hide, to throw everything away. And through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "It's going to be amazing," said Taylor. And that is the end of our story. And I invite the children to go to their classes.
Now is the time in our service when we share with each other what's on our hearts, joys and sorrows, concerns and celebrations, anniversaries. As you come up to the mic, please tell us your name so we may know you better, and choose a stone or shell from the basket to drop into the water as you share with us. You, of course, are also welcome to do so in silence. Please know that personal sharings will not be recorded.
Today, our offering is being shared with the Women's Shelter of Elkhart County through the YWCA, so please give generously.
Please don't do that, sir. Please, I would love to sit by myself right now. There's something real creepy about you, pal. You want to get weird? Let's get weird. You got a nice face. An anger problem? Living with them? Are you kidding me? It's frustrating. It's like, just get a job. I like your hat. I like how it's not a team or a logo, it's just blue. Would you rather be covered in fish scales or feathers? Scales? Why, you weirdo? You want to see me jump really high? I'm afraid of dying, man. Who am I? The enemy is in me. The enemy is the inner me. Do you understand a word I'm saying? You just nodded everything. I need to change, and you showed me that. I have an anger problem. Thank you. Can I get a hug? What is your name? I can't keep thinking of you as my magical best friend with no name. Joe, Tommy, Louis, Tram. Is it Tram? What a crazy guess. Beautiful name. Fits you perfectly. My roommates are killing me. I'm fine, you're right. Okay, I like it, all right? I hate myself. Is that what you want me to say? Why do you always have to make everything so simple? How do you just get it? How do I become you? Show me the way, man. I'll do anything. All right, man. I'm in. You lead, my man. All right, whatever's about to happen is going to happen. Okay. What is this place? What would you like? What does this mean? Let's not do this. Let's not take off our clothes. Let's go back to the park where it was good. What do I know? We're taking our pants off? Okay, keep those underwear on, am I right? Good. Stay on, underwear good. Why are you cradling me like a baby, friend? This is not how guys of my generation hang out. This is the moment that got away from me, man. Oh, that's my butt. This is intimate. Oh. How did you know? Oh.
You are a huge baby.
Yeah. I am a huge baby.
Now please remain seated for our next hymn, which is number 90, From All the Fret and Fever of the Day.
I think she's going to play this all the way through. This is a new one we've never sung before, so we'll learn it together. She didn't play it all the way through?
It's not new.
Okay. We haven't sung it since I've been here.
This reading is by Joyce Sutphin. It's called What Does It Mean to Be a People of Deep Listening? Listening helps us find our way. The listening of therapists allow us to navigate our way through life. We turn to prayer to hear God's guidance. We listen to experts so we can get ahead. Like a flashlight that leads us through the darkness, listening helps keep us on course. And yet our faith says, not quite. There's so much more to it than that. Listening doesn't just guide us through the world, it says. It also creates our world. Just think about why you listen to those close to you. Is it really just to gather information? To hear the other clearly? Or is it because you've discovered in those rare moments of deep listening that a space suddenly opens up? A space that feels sacred. A space that, once you've experienced it, you never want to leave. This is why the flashlight way of understanding listening is so limited and limiting. Listening's value isn't just instrumental. It doesn't just help us collect and expose information. It's not just a tool. It's a place. Those voices calling us home are our home. We don't have conversations. We are our conversations. Listening literally determines the world we live in and whom we become. That old story about the cricket and the coins come to mind. Two people are walking down a busy city street. Everyone is rushing to and from their work, trying to get ahead. One of the friends turns to the other and says, "Do you hear that? It's a cricket." The other friend responds with doubt, but after focusing his attention, finally hears it. "Wow," he says, "how did you hear that cricket with all the noise around us?" His friend responds, "It's all about how I was raised, about what I was taught to listen for." He goes on, "Here, I'll show you something." His friend then reaches into his pocket and pulls out a handful of coins, nickels, quarters, dimes, and he drops them on the sidewalk. Everyone who was rushing by stops to listen. One wonders if this is why the poet says, "Listen carefully. Your whole life might depend on what you hear." Again, friends, we must remember this. We don't have conversations. We are our conversations. Who and what we listen to is who and what we become.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me and I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head, and it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Yeah. Well, you do have a nail in your head.
It is not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't think that is what you need. I think what you need is to get the nail
See,
out.
you're not even listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just, sometimes it's like, there's this achy, I don't know what it is. And I'm not sleeping very well at all. And all my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It is. Thank you.
Ow! Come on. If you would just.
Don't.
Try to see things my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can go on? We can work it out. We can work it
not about the nail. So, today I want to share with you some thoughts about deep listening. And here's a clue. It's not about the nail. Deep listening is quite a bit different than the everyday passive listening that we're most familiar with. Deep listening is more about making space, sacred space for someone. It's about truly being present with another person in a non-judgmental, compassionate way. Walking beside them without trying to fix them or control the outcome. It's about being rather than doing. In the fall of 2017, my mom was dying, and I spent many long hours at her bedside during her final days. And though I had experience as a hospital chaplain in a trauma center, where I saw more death and suffering than I ever cared to again, I felt totally helpless and overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do to help my mom transition from this life to whatever was next. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to fix her. I wanted to be the perfect kid and give her the perfect death. And I didn't know how. I was, however, blessed to have received visits from a kind palliative care nurse. I don't even remember her name now, so I'll call her Barbara. Barbara talked to me about the death process, what to expect, what to do. And through my training, I already knew these things. But I was such a mess, I couldn't access it. Barbara was a true gift. She sat with me sometimes in silence, sometimes holding my hand, but always making sacred space for me. She was always fully present, listening to me express my frustrations, my feelings of inadequacy, my fears, and my grief without judgment. She let me feel what I needed to feel without trying to fix me. But most of all, Barbara gave me permission to trust my own intuition, trust my own wisdom. She helped me to realize that all I had to do, as it turned out, was just to trust my instincts. And once I was able to do that, I intuitively know what I needed to do. I knew to sing the old-timey songs that my mom loved and that she sang to me as a kid. You are my sunshine, lambs eat oats, look there, daddy. I intuitively knew when it was time for more morphine in mouth swabs. I intuitively knew how to love her. Barbara was wise. She only gave me as much information at one time that I could handle. She didn't overwhelm me with unnecessary facts that would have made me feel incompetent. And she also didn't take my power away. That is, I was empowered in making decisions on Mom's behalf. And Barbara offered wonderful support. But she never tried to direct or control my decisions. But most of all, Barbara knew to keep her ego out of the situation. It wasn't about her. This is something I remember that I struggled with during my chaplaincy training. So as a way of trying to connect to the other person and to show them that I understood how they were feeling, I would often tell them a story similar of my own experiences, essentially reversing our roles. The patient became the listener and the caregiver, and it's easy to do. And I think we all do it sometimes. However, you can't listen deeply and make sacred space for someone if you are the one sharing the story and talking about your feelings. A critical task of listening is to create a container to hold the vast amount of complex emotions that the person may have bubbling up. And boy, did I need a big container. I was an emotional wreck, yet I have developed the ability over many years to keep my emotions well contained, rarely displaying any extreme or even sometimes strong emotions. It all got stuffed down inside, and Barbara was able to hold me in such a deep way that I felt safe enough to allow some of my powerful emotions to rise to the surface. By offering me tenderness and compassion, and interestingly, by displaying the confidence that she could handle this difficult situation, that she wasn't afraid of death, she made me feel safe to simply become a puddle on the floor without being embarrassed or shamed. She was that quiet, non-anxious presence that I so desperately needed, which allowed me to trust her. I've learned over the years that deep listening and holding space is not something that's exclusive to ministers or palliative care nurses. It's something that all of us can do. For our partners, our children, our friends, our neighbors, even strangers. I think we all have this innate need to know we have been heard, truly heard. But our minds are so often engaged in things like thinking ahead to see about how we're going to respond, what words we're going to use, by judging someone else's words or feelings, or trying to get them to understand that they are wrong and that their logic is flawed. We often want to fix or take control, and none of these things are part of deep listening. And they won't help create sacred space. Like our video clip about the lady with the nail in her head, and the scene between Nick and Tran. Sometimes we just need someone to witness to our human condition without trying to fix it. Deep listening is listening for understanding, not listening for an antidote. We often turn off the hearing parts in our brain as we contemplate a response. We find what we like or dislike in what was said, and we jump on that. And because we all have an opinion about pretty much everything, instead of listening, we try to get our opinion out there to be heard. Now, there is time and place for our opinions, but when we're trying to do deep listening, that's not the time nor the place. In fact, in Proverbs, it says, "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion." Truth. So let's not try to be fools. what works better is to talk less. But if we must talk, it helps to ask questions to clarify meaning. Asking questions does a couple of things. It helps the listener gain more understanding, and it shows the speaker that effort is being made to understand them. And once we've asked questions, it can also be helpful to paraphrase back what we think we have heard. We can say like, well, I hear you saying how hurtful that was. Or it sounds like those actions really upset you. Reflecting back to the person helps to ensure we understand what was being said, because our brains likes to change things. Paraphrasing also gives the speaker a chance to correct us. We may think we understood, but sometimes we may need to hear it a few times in a different iteration before we actually get it. It's also helpful to rein in our personal assumptions. We often assume the worst, but it can be more helpful for us to assume the best. If the person we're speaking to is mad at us, perhaps it's because they've had a bad day, or they're in pain, or maybe there's something going on that we're not aware of. Try not to assume that their ire wasn't intended to be directed at us. Chances are the problem isn't about you. It's not about the nail. And finally, think before you respond. Pause. Choose your words. We often give little thought at all to what has really been said, and it's easy to just blurt out a response because we know we are right, or we just know how to fix the problem. Again, we're creating sacred space for someone. When we're engaged in deep listening, there's no need to fix, no need to control or patronize, mansplain, or offer any other sort of witticisms. We just need to listen and to bear witness. I've been fortunate to have received the gift of deep listening and holding sacred space for me many times in my life. It's such a powerful feeling to know that you've been heard, acknowledged, and understood. In fact, these experiences are what sustained me during some of the most challenging times of my life. And as I look out at all of you, I see all kinds of people. Quiet, gentle ones, opinionated ones, self-avowed curmudgeons, anxious ones, younger ones, depressed, joyful, worried ones. And all of you, all of us, need to receive this gift of deep listening at various points in our lives. If this is something you need at this point in your life, I implore you, please seek out someone. Be intentional in asking for what you need. Tell them you need to be held in sacred space, that you need to be heard and listened to. There's no shame in asking for what you need. And let's face it, these are challenging times, folks. No one is immune to the ramifications of the current state of the world. We've all been deeply affected by all of it. And if you're not comfortable talking to someone here, come to me. I will hold space for you. And if you're aware of someone who needs to be heard and listened to, reach out to them and offer this gift. Let's take care of each other. Let's hold each other in sacred space. May it be so. So I invite you to join me as we extinguish our chalice. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. Deeply regard each other. Truly listen to each other. Speak what each of you must speak. Be ready for any moment to disarm your heart. And always live as if a realm of love has begun. So be it. Blessed be. Go in peace.